Well, I broke down and brought the van down to the shop so that I could get Robert to give me a hand cutting out the hole in the roof for the roof vent. And of course we picked the absolute hottest day of the year with, you know, heat warnings and all kinds of stuff. But at least we're in the shade and we've got the fan going. So there will be some background noise with the fan. But the plan is to go ahead and cut that hole in the roof and get that sealed up good today. So, here we go. Here's the roof of the van. And there's the roof rack, and the solar panels, of course, are going to go in between there. And the vent fan is going to go right in that area there. Okay, just to be safe, even though I've checked this before, I'm going to check it one more time. Got about somewhere around 1/4 inch of play in both directions. So that'll allow us to set that in there, and these will screw from the top, of course, right into the center of this wood frame. And that should sandwich it down really well. First thing we're going to want to do is drill a hole in each of the 4 corners, and then when we get up on top we'll know, you know, where to cut. One of the tricks of the trade here, share a little secret with you, is to get somebody to hold a box to catch the shavings. Man, it makes cleanup so much easier. That's why I've enlisted Robert. Let me show you. As you can see, got a hole in each of the 4 corners. Now everything else is done up on top, except Robert will be in here holding the box right up underneath it to catch as many of the metal shavings as we can. Alrighty, there's the 4 holes. And we know a brace runs right along here, so I'm going to put this pad, and that's where I'm going to, that way I'll get up on that, and that'll keep it from denting the roof, being right on top of the brace. Then what I'm going to do is just draw a line using the square and follow that along with the jigsaw. All right, got it marked out. Now the fun part, cutting it. So let's just see. Robert, you ready? Now he's got the box all the way up against it to catch as much of the shavings as possible. Here we go. Once you get 3 sides, you get a lot of flopping with it and vibration. So what Robert's going to do is he's going to put a piece of tape on there from the bottom, and then he's going to hand it to me, and I'm going to put a piece or 2 up here. We're going to try to keep that from flapping. Well, if we're lucky now, that'll keep it from flapping and vibrating really bad and keep the danger of that cutting somebody. So now we'll just finish it up with that last one. So much vibration, I had to hold the camera. All right. And there you have it. So as you can see, the paint chipped off. That doesn't surprise me any. It's been peeling off this van since the day we bought it. So we'll just have to prep that a little bit and spray it down. It just adds about 30 minutes of work and dry time to it. Now we'll get that taken care of real quick here. Well, since we had to chip the rest of that paint and sand it down and prime it and spray it, we have to wait for it to dry. So while we were waiting on that, we went ahead and did another upgrade. And that was to change out the headlights to the super bright night vision from Napa. I'm hoping that will improve my driving vision at night. Of course, there is a set of running lights and fog lights in the future of this van as well. But back to the roof vent. Okay, as you can see, we've been talking about those little channels and grooves up here. What's going to happen is when we pull this and screw this down tight, and this comes flush, it's still going to leave an open gap here and here, and also over here on the sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of this 1/4 inch Luan in here, something like that. And now when that pulls down tight, this will be against this, but that still gives us a good solid base right there. So there you can see it. That's going to fill that gap when that comes down tight and make it a good solid fit all the way around. So this is called butyl tape. And what we're going to do is we're going to put layers of it right around the outside frame of this. That's going to stop all of the water from getting in there. Okay, here again are these little channels. And when we put this on, to set it in there, it's going to lay flat on the higher areas and water would be able to get underneath. So we're going to have to fill these so that they're level. It looks like it's going to take about 2 layers to get it to the height that we need it to be. Okay, I wanted to test this to see if that was going to be thick enough. So I'm going with this straight edge. And as you can see, it just barely made a mark on that. And that's not good. You want that to be able to squish out. So what I'm going to do is actually put a 3rd layer. All right, that makes me feel a lot better. Because if it was going to leak, by God, that's where it's going to leak, is right in that area. All right, I'm happy. Okay, now comes the more critical part. This is going to have to be centered best we can, because the second it touches the putty tapes together, there is no going back. There you go. That's why you put a wood frame in there, because these roofs are so wobbly, see? So by having the wood frame in there, when that screws down, that's going to be a good, solid, tight fit. Okay, this is what we're going to use. These are 1 inch. They've got a nice big head on them. And they will go all the way through this. And because they've got this self-tapping point, they'll go through the metal and then into the wood. And that should cinch it up really well. So I'm going to start right here. See how that pulled some of the putty tape up? That makes a fantastic seal. Can you push up on this board right here? And then I'm just going to work my way out. I don't make them tight yet. We'll go back and we'll cinch them up, kind of like you put lug nuts on a tire or on a wheel. Okay, there's the test fit. It's on there really nice. So now what I'll do is go back and cinch those up, and then we'll install it. Now if you see, this is great. See how this all squished out? That's what you wanted to see. Now you come along with this thing, which we call a putty buddy, and we're going to cut this excess tape off. Be a little difficult down in that valley where there's so much of it. Gonna have to touch that up, I guess. All right, that cleaned that up really well. I'm not going to worry about this little chip here because that's going to be covered with our lap sealant, which is our self-leveling caulk that we're going to put on there. So there you have it, a good, solid, tight fit that once we get that lap sealant on there, it's going to be waterproof for sure. And there it is, open. So now what I have to do is put these screws into these holes, and there's 2 on each side, and that's what's going to hold it in place. Well, we're back up on the roof again to finish up this installation of the roof vent. And this is the part that is really scary. See how this is nice and flat? If you look at it at an angle like this, you can see on a normal flat roof, you only have a little bit of a lip here to seal. But if you noticed, this here creates the big problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in with the 2 different types of lap sealant. Let me show you what those are. You've got the self-leveling, and you have what's called non-sag. And that comes out more like regular silicone. It can be shaped and formed. So we're going to put the non-leveling in this area right here and make a good seal. And then you also have the issue of here you have the same problem. You have a larger drop. So we'll put non-leveling here as well. Then after that sets up, we're going to come back with the self-leveling, which you put on, and then it just smooths itself out. And we'll go over the non-sag that we put in, and then we'll get each of the screw heads. So that's pretty much the process. Now we just have to do it. All right, as you saw, we went all the way around. And got a really good, tight seal in the deep areas here, as well as up here. And you might have seen me take my finger and kind of go like this as I went along. Even though you have a good clean surface, what you're doing is you're making sure that that is getting a good, tight bond between the metal and the caulk itself, and that just kind of assures it. And we'll come back with the self-leveling, and that will put us a second layer of protection. It'll get the tops of the screw heads, and to be quite honest, it also looks a lot better. All right, we gave it probably an hour and a half to 2 hours to set up. And now we're going to come back with the self-leveling lap sealant, and we're going to cover all the screw heads, and then we're going to put us a nice coat here. That will give us an extra layer of protection, and it's Well, we gave it about an hour, hour and a half, and as you can see, it has self-leveled itself out really nice in this bright, warm sun. So I think we're gonna get this bad boy installed and call this a done deal. Listen, thanks for watching. We appreciate you coming along with us on this build. If you like this kind of thing, give us a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe, we'd appreciate it. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Later.